Hello. Okay, so sometimes in our culture, some something will happen and it'll end up being a conduit for outrage or even fake outrage, and uh, sometimes it ends up being something like the Starbucks Christmas cup that people were saying Christians were mad about, and it became a viral thing. But I didn't know anybody who was actually upset about it. But everybody was talking about it, weird stuff like that. So it's all silly to a degree. There is a sinister side to it, um, where a lot of our lives take place online, and the culture is being changed and is being changed online. So let's the most recently we've had the Gillette made a commercial that has become a cultural phenomenon. I call it a phenomenon, but it'll be over. I mean, it's already over. I mean, it's a Gillette commercial, but still, it's a Gillette commercial that people are still talking about. I felt like I wanted to talk about it, and typically something like I found that a lot of this outrage stuff, it just, if you feed it, it will just grow larger, and it just ends up being more of a problem. And that's a weird thing too, because I believe in interacting online and having a voice online. I think it's important that people share things, and we be straightforward, just be honest. And so that's what I'm here to do. I'm going to offer a perspective on this Gillette commercial from a guy. And I'm a guy, I know who I am, and this is strange. And so I'm going to watch it with you, but first, we have to prime it with what's been happening in the culture for the past, few years, and even beyond that, since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I never talked about it, but I'd watch television, and it was always the man. The man was always an idiot, and there's plenty of tropes that women have too on television. And in media, in the culture, everybody has theirs. I get it. But for me, as a man, it's always the man who's an idiot, and it's always being corrected, and he can't do anything right. Basically useless, usually ugly, not well spoken, not a smart guy, not handy, not anything, just kind of there. And it's funny. It can be funny for a while. I like jokes. I like to be joked on. But it becomes tedious. And, that was when I was a kid, and that affected me. It affected me in a strange way. So when I see something like this, the Gillette commercial, it makes me think of kids. Adults have jobs, ideally, unless you're a communist or something like that, but unless you're somebody like me who is a junkie for culture and is interested in what's going on, you're not going to care, one, and you're probably not even going to see it. But was it last year, the Women's March was appalling. It was terrible. I was embarrassed for the people at the march. I really was. And somebody's got to make fun of these people. Somebody has to. Somebody has to make fun of people who do stupid things. And I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm pretty funny. I can be pretty funny. And some people need to know how to take a joke, and some people need to know that they can't take a joke and that's the reason they're the butt of it. So even years back, because things like this will happen where you have the Chick-fil-A thing where everybody freaked out of nowhere because the owner is for traditional marriage, like Christian marriage, and so gay people started going making out at the at the Chick-fil-A's across the nation, which blows my mind. You got a Snapple here, it'd be a good time to wet your whistle. Excuse me. So gay people went to the store. It's closed on Sundays. They had no idea, I guess, that Chick-fil-A was keeping the Sabbath, which is, I'm pretty sure, the only national chain to do that. And then we were all united by Twinkies. It was stupid, right? We're silly. So the feminist march was also run by anti-Semites, straight up, people who want Jews dead. It's which is it's a wild thing, because in the meantime I'm being called a Nazi and a racist for saying capitalism is better than socialism, and these are by people I know, like Fox and the Hound level stuff. So I'm called a racist, a communist. I'm not a communist. What am I saying? A Nazi, homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic. All these phobias. And is there a word for criticizing Christianity? There's not. There's no phobia of Christianity, oddly enough. It's only other people. So, which, you know what it does, what that is, it's something that speaks well on behalf of Christianity. Because, we're, for the most part, not in your grill. We're not trying to mess you up. You have to go find people who's not going to bake a cake, and then you live in a country that allows you to sue them for $500,000 and put them out of business because they wouldn't bake you a cake. So congrats on that. It's wonderful for you if you're suing bakers, if that's your thing. So the Women's March, run by anti-Semites, nobody knows what they're there for. Presumably rights that they already have. And this is when there's always room to grow. I'm not saying we live in a utopia. We live in a fallen world. You can't get rid, you can't get rid of evil. You can't get rid of pain. You can't get rid of suffering. You can't get rid of greed. You can shift things around. And one of the things in America was we tried out the concept of negative rights, and the fact that nobody owes you anything, but that we have a level playing field as far as the law is concerned. So for the past, I don't even know how long, honestly, 5-10 years, we've been lectured about white privilege, about the gender wage gap, all this different stuff, just lecture after lecture after lecture, telling us how we need to change. And I say we, I mean generally white men, and this is when somebody comes at me with a argument that would make two rights or two wrongs a right, which is not how I fly. So if somebody's wanting to have a nuanced conversation about, well, do you believe in this and do you believe in that? We would get along fine. We would get along fine. We might not be in the same religion or the same denomination, and that's fine. I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm not here to change the way how anybody lives. But because I'm a man, and I hesitate to say white man, because that's not even really where I want to go with this. But it's like okay to say things about men and white people that just would not be okay if switched around. However, I'm finding out that it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all to people who complain like this. So these are weird phenomenons when something happens and it just sparks. So Gillette came out with an ad, really well done, and it ruffled some feathers. But first, I've got this real short video pulled up because there were some things said at the Women's March that were just insane, and gross. I don't know what world these people think they're living in. Because it's not the one I'm living in. It's not the one I want either. So, and let's listen to this. It's called five crazy things celebrities said at the big Women's March. Turn this up.
But I'm sure there isn't one person here who has not been helped by Planned Parenthood directly or otherwise. We're complete human beings, and they cannot police us, so get off our areolas.
So, get off our areolas. So the first one was about abortion, which is killing children, and I understand there's a counter argument to that, but that's what it's going to be looked at in the future. People keep talking about the right side of history. That's not going to be good for us when they look back. It's going to be worse than slavery. Can you wrap your head around that? Worse than slavery is abortion. And I have compassion for people who have had abortions. In a lot of ways, I believe they're victims too. So I'm not here to condemn these people, but let's just keep in mind that these aren't just silly ideas. And I was born, and I'm half of the child-making process. And unless you're some queen bee harvesting men's sperm, chill on the I don't have a right to talk about it, because I do. I was born, I came out of a woman, and men are half of the process anyways, so at least the creating of it. And we'll get to the other part later, because women are great and they do amazing things, and men have a role there as well. So, there's some woman.
Our vaginas.
Oh yeah. Nipples and vaginas. Fine.
Power. I don't think so. Here's the power.
Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I mean, who doesn't,
Is
though?
Your
You know.
erection really more than protecting the sacred, messy part of my womanhood? Is the blood stain on my jeans more embarrassing than the thinning of your hair?
How about my 7th grade boner in math class? You know? Seriously. Can it, woman? We all have gender issues. And, like, I'm not... it's a dick measuring contest. That's what it is. And I'm not interested in doing that with women, and don't want to compare traumas. Because sure, that would be traumatizing, your bloodstains. But you know what else is traumatizing? Being in 7th grade and everything is embarrassing already for everybody, and not knowing when you're going to have an erection. That's terrifying. It's like you're getting off the bus in the morning and you're just praying to God that you don't get an erection when you get to school and when the bus parks. And when you do, you have to have a plan. And guys know the plan, you know? So I'm not going to get into the details of it because it's strange. But, you know, I saw some things, some poor guys. I really felt for them. There's a lot of empathy. But I'm not interested in, you know, going and talking about my boners on TV. I mean, I guess I am now, but that's just to illustrate how ridiculous this is. I'm not interested. I don't want to talk. It's not even a joke. What these people are saying is that it would be funny, I think, if it was somehow a joke, but it's not. It's pretty scary. So, anyways, so that's what we've been dealing with. Women are fine to say all this stuff, and meanwhile, it's Kevin Hart is getting blasted for saying he didn't want his son to be gay, because nobody wants their son to be gay. Nobody does, unless you just don't want your family to continue. I mean, that's what. Family is a lot of things, and among them, so you can have a family that continues, I guess, in your own way. But the way families continue, let's be real, is a man and a woman have a child that is theirs, and you have a family that grows, and then they have kids, and that's how this thing works. That's how we've been doing it for forever. And that's not a knock on gays, but I'm just saying you can't make life in the places that you're putting it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it just didn't work that way. So don't be mad at me because I don't like butthole. So, that's all I'm saying. Do your thing. Do your thing, and good luck with that. I mean it. And so let's move on to the ad itself, the Gillette ad, which is mind-blowing.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
So right off the bat, we're talking about Me Too, masculinity, just words, buzzwords, and it's all masculinity. Like right off the bat, just masculinity. Imagine that though. Just right off the bat, it's like a commercial comes out skeptical of femininity. It's like you get in trouble for saying you're not a feminist, like an activist for women. It's like I'm just saying I'm normal. Masculinity is normal. And there's a duality to masculinity, just like there's a duality to femininity. And it is just guys looking in the mirror, looking ashamed of themselves, See this guy, it looks like he's thinking of the girl he raped. It's just, so it's... Let's just keep watching.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it?
And so we have the bullying, the chasing, and then, they show the mom hugging her child who's been bullied, and her face looks sad, and she looks confused and even maybe hopeless, just in that moment for sure. It's a Yeah, that's effective. That's a moving image of a woman holding a child, and that's a real moment. But you know what a kid who gets bullied needs? A dad. A boy who's getting bullied needs a dad. They need if a dad's there to say, buck up, because and the mom can be there to give affection, but a son, the kid's not going to learn how to take on the bully, and that's what happens when you. It happens to men. You when you're growing up, men learn how to, because every man is a bully at some point and are bullied, and you figure it out. You figure out, and you do that with the help of your mom and dad. So the mom is crucial, of course, but this is terrifying. It's a terrifying image, because she looks like she doesn't know what to do. She's really deep, like real deep, into some dark. That's dark. I mean, this commercial's so dark. I mean, the guy looking at himself, like there's multiple guys looking at themselves, and there's a lot of self-contemplation going on. And I tell you what, this woman is thinking is, wow, I wish I had a husband, because he needs a dad. He needs a dad that can be strong and teach him how to be strong. So.
We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far
So,
too long.
all right, yeah, all right. So right there, I mean, it's just one after the next. It's pretty rich. I mean, that's why I'm interested in it. I'm not mad even, but you have these kids watching TV, and it looks like it shows like a cartoon, and it shows something that looks like MTV, which it's got girls prancing around in bikinis, and you got these kids, like 14-year-olds maybe, looking really weird. And one looking extraordinarily smug. I've 14-year-olds are smug, and I'm even saying this is too smug for a 14-year-old. Look at this. Can I get this in here? Look at this kid on the right, or all the way at the end, the one who's not totally awkward, and he's got, you can't see it in that, but he's got this weird, like, he's looking at that girl, and he's like, oh yeah, and he's like leaned up against his buddy, looking at chicks. It's odd, they shouldn't be allowed to watch MTV, but I don't even know what the message is here. Because even the channels that would play something like that are the super woke channels, who are all about, it's like, it's ridiculous. Like, you can have your feminism if you want. I'm just letting you know, it's not what you think it is. It's not. It's something called feminism is not searching for equality. maybe originally it was. But man, even the title of that. Here, let's do this. Magic time. Even if I call it something masculinitism or whatever you would call it, that'd be ridiculous. But I'm just, because you have, and my point here is that you have girls prancing around and it's all about my body, my choice, and it's about, you know, you don't have permission to touch me, but you're denying the nature of man simply by, and I know you're freaking out right now. Chill, because I'm coming around to you. Okay. These are 14-year-old boys watching cable television, and they got jiggly titties. I mean, they're all three rock hard, for sure. All three, rock hard. Biology. They're not doing anything. Like, that is the most honest part of a man's body. You can't fake that. You can't will it away. You can try and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Doesn't really work. I've tried it. It doesn't work. But you see that's a natural reaction. Like, this kid, even the one who looks like he shouldn't be there, like he knows, he's like, Mom wouldn't want me to be here watching this. He's like, he's enjoying it too, even though he looks real weird. He's got this like stare, and I don't even know what the message is here. I'm not sure. It's confusing. It really is. As a man, it's confusing. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to take out of this, except that they're saying something's wrong with men. They're saying something's wrong with this, that it's unnatural.
We can't laugh it off.
Okay. All right. So this one kills me, because you got a guy. It's a television set with a studio audience, and a guy comes in, a white guy comes in, and there's a black maid. All right, and the guy comes in, and it doesn't matter. Like, the color thing is really not the point. It's just kind of a black maid. Really, I mean, come on, like it's a little much. It's laid on real thick, and even it cuts to these people laughing, and it's the laughter is like hysterical, in the sense that it looks like they've all been gassed, or something. Like, they look insane, but this guy comes in behind the maid, and he's like he's gonna grab her butt and stuff like that, and that's supposed to be the joke. He does like that, and kind of winks to the crowd, like the audience, and they're all like hysterically laughing. They even have women laughing in the image I got here. And I don't know if you've ever watched television. That's not the joke. That's not the joke. If that ever happened in a television show, that's not where the laughter is. If anything, that's the laughter comes from, like, because you know the character or something, because it's like, oh my God, this guy's an idiot. Like, he's an idiot. He's the typical idiot that you see in a television show, but they're making fun of him. The laughs would come after he tries to pull some move, and the maid turns around and slams him down, like home run, walk off, like, get out of here, made a fool of. So she's going to be the one getting the laughs. I don't know. This is not real. I've never seen that, ever. Even as far back as Archie Bunker. Archie Bunker was bigoted, right? But he was the butt of the joke still. Like, he got his wisecracks in, just like Al Bundy did. But they had their counterparts that would make them seem ignorant. So it was fair play in a lot of ways. I mean, but Archie Bunker was the butt of the younger kids who'd come in. Like, it's a bunch of hippies making fun of the old curmudgeon. It's a trope. It was funny. It was a back and forth. It wasn't preachy. This is not real.
What I actually think she's trying to say. Making the same old excuses.
Yeah, okay, it's just everything, man, everything. The cuts to a scene where it's in a board meeting, and it's just a bunch of men and one woman sitting next to it that looks like the CEO, and he's reaching over and putting his hand on her shoulder, and he's like, what she means to say is, first of all, what if she said something stupid? She looks completely demoralized, like she doesn't have the constitution to deal with that moment. So maybe she did say something stupid. Maybe she choked. I've choked, and I'm a man. And you know what has happened when I've choked? Not only was I embarrassed by my inability to perform a job in a moment. That's embarrassing all on its own. I've been corrected in front of people, you know? It's embarrassing. It is. But that's not... Welcome to the workforce. Jeez, what do you want? This is all painting this insane image of men. I'm telling you, when men watch this, they're like, what? It's so confusing. I really thought about this for a long time. I've read a lot. Anyways, this is interesting because it really says a lot in a little amount of time. I'm 34 seconds into a minute and 49 video, and let's say the woman actually said something intelligent, and the guy still did that thing, and which is, I mean, which would be a douchebag thing to do. It's like, but that happens. It's happened to me. I mean, and you know who does it? Women do it a lot. Women feel like they can just carte blanche. I mean, you hear about mansplaining stuff. Man, that's not a gender issue. It's not. So it's weird to see that singled out as it's somehow our fault as men for either doing it or allowing it to happen or not saying anything or even being, it's a problem that I have a problem with saying this stuff all the time. This is very concentrated amount of what happens all the time. And then you cut to, we've got these kids. I can't tell if they're beating the hell out of each other or if they're roughhousing, which is confusing. It's confusing because then it's like, what is this, the barbecue scene? Boys will be boys. I mean, who has ever seen this? These two kids beating the hell out of each other and three dads just sitting there like, oh, boys will be boys. Never. I've never seen that. I've never seen a fight happen and then just dads sitting there. Boys will be boys. No. That's, and actually, if you look into the psychology of boys learning rough and tumble play, it helps develop a sense of your body and what you can take and what where the lines are between play and fight, because there are lines, and we're seeing a lot of kids don't know where that is, and they're not being allowed a chance. And it's not that you promote bullying. It's just that you teach kids how to handle it. You teach kids right from wrong, and you teach kids how to stand up for yourself. And when they learn that, they can stand up for others. And you also learn how to see other people when they're crossing the line. And sometimes you call a shot, and sometimes that shot's wrong. It is. But then you learn from that. And if you desire truth, you figure out what that is, and you keep moving. This is just ridiculous. None of this makes sense to me. I mean, I believe I understand what they're saying, but even the fact that this is what makes it even more confusing is the fact that it's specifically, Gillette makes specifically stuff for men. It would be different, like for Nike, for instance. Like, I understood the Kaepernick ad, it was whatever, but I understood it on a level, but this is weird. It's like Ashley Judd directed a commercial for a men's product. Like, could you imagine Hulk Hogan directing Maybelline commercials and talking trash about women in the process? It's like toxic women and their uppity mouths, it's like, shut that mouth up. Sister, put on some makeup and make me a sandwich. All right. Every dad in the world. Okay, I just want to point out, this is Anna Kasparian. She's awful. Awful. Just awful. So, it just blows my... It just is... that's astounding that she's in this. That's off YouTube.
Sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says and there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
So this is where the commercial takes a turn, and it gets even more confusing. This is because men see the previous part and they say, what is this? I don't recognize this world that's being portrayed. Should I feel more guilty than I do? Should I think less of the men in my life? What is this? I don't get it. And then it takes a turn where we see that Terry Crews and which, nobody I'm not here to promote harming women or anything. It's quite the opposite. It's weird because men there's a duality to masculinity, and growing up it was always save the princess. And then you play Mario, you save the princess. You watch a movie, it's save the princess, and then you get older and it's like, people say that was bad to save the princess. Like, I'm not a damsel in distress and stuff like that. And it's healthy that's one side of masculinity. That's the side of masculinity that was rejected. That desire to want to save the damsel is the good part of men. It's the other side. That's the other part of the duality. It's the one who want to take the women. Think of history in context a little bit. Things can be terrible for individual people, and it can trend in certain demographics for sure. But still, relative to human history, this is a near effective utopia, and we're kind of losing our minds about it. It's weird. Because there's no... We've got... This is the thing. It's like, I want to talk about this, but people get so upset. You know, if it's like, well, what about this? You know, what about cops? And what about... It's like, yeah, there's problems, right? But think of in context. It's not bad in context. It's actually wonderful. I'm not rich. I have this... I'm burning pallets in my... There's no nails, but I'm burning pallets because wood is expensive, and I live in an apartment, so, you know, this is my white privilege pallets, and I'm fine. I don't need anything from you people, you know. I'm fine. I'm great, actually. So, whatever. But yeah, this commercial takes a weird turn for men who are watching this. It kind of, because this is where you start to relate. Like, the good people who watch this are like, yeah, that's bad. But it gets even more confusing.
Come on. To say the right thing.
So this is
To act
people at a
the right
pool
way.
party. It's got two guys approaching girls. I think he may have said something like "smile, honey" or something like that, which I've literally never heard a guy say, but I'm sure it happens. Sorry, ladies. I mean, whatever, you know. Girls say really bitchy things sometimes too, so it's fine. Like, really, it is. If that's the snake in your garden, we're good, you know. As far as the culture goes, again, I'm not talking about bad things happen. So then you got this guy who sees a good-looking girl. He sees a good-looking girl, and he starts to walk up to her, and his friend stops him and is like, "No, bro, that's not cool." It's like, why? How? That would be so annoying if my friend did that. I mean, unless this dude is just a known rapist, or just is known for hounding, that's one thing, but that's not established. All you see is just a guy seeing a good-looking girl, and he approaches her. Let me tell you, the first thing I ever thought about my wife was, and I was trying to be really righteous about it. I was like, but I couldn't help it. I was like, she's really healthy. She's really healthy. Like, she drinks milk. She must have drank her milk, right? She's healthy. She was hot. She's really hot. This first thing I ever noticed was, wow, she's gorgeous. And I talked to her the first chance I got. And I pursued her. And women need to stop acting like they don't want that. For real. Because, like, I watch the movies that y'all watch. It's all about stalkers. All of them are about stalkers. And then you put this guy like, whoa, bro. And then meanwhile you got Edward Cullen climbing up in your window, like, staring at you with his bug eyes in the shadows. And he's, like, thinking about your blood, you know. It's like... And then you got all this... Dude, it's just like women's porn is on television and at the movies. It's crazy. It's weird. So this is weird. This is strange. It's not right. That's not right. It's not right to tell men that. That's a bad thing to say. Don't pursue women. Don't talk to them if you think they're attractive.
Some already are. It weighs big.
And these kids are... And see, here you got this really cool thing. These are really sweet videos. And then, but you have these weird things intermingled with it, where you have, like, just a ton of kids chasing some other kid down the street, and a dad breaks it up. It's like, cool. Right? I don't know how it is in the big city, because I know, like, apparently y'all just will sit there and watch a girl get raped or something, because there's a word for it even. It's like, oh, somebody else will take care of it. you know, you're living in your like beehive high rises. Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying, none of this is real.
That's not how we treat each other.
And then the dad break. That's not how we treat each other. I don't know. It's like, okay, yeah, fine. That's not how we treat each other. We shouldn't be beating the hell out of each other in the yard, and like having like fight club in the backyard with our 4-year-old boys and just saying boys will be boys. No, you should. It's a weird thing to say, like, because it shows all dads like in a weird row and all barbecuing. So boys will be boys, like it's every dad or something. And then you have this where some like things change, and then the dad runs out to stop the 4-year-olds from beating the hell out of each other. Like that's uncommon. Like that's like you need to step up and stop letting your 4-year-olds beat the hell out of each other, because it's getting out of hand.
Because the boy's watching today.
And he's watching his dad stand up for him. Fine, it's cool. Be the men of tomorrow. The best a man can get. So obnoxious. All it's just like, it made me laugh, you know? Like, when I first watched it, it just was like, what is this? It was so confusing. So confusing. I didn't get it. I was, like, so yeah, you know? Men are men, and we don't live I'm sorry, we don't live in a rape culture. We don't. A culture is something that is accepted and defended by the people in a nation, and that's not us, you know? We don't have a rape culture. Nobody's out there defending rape, and that's ridiculous. Most people just want to chop the balls off rapists, so, you know, whatever. That's ridiculous. So, there's a lot of mixed messages out there, and you have kids. Because like I said, when I was a boy, it was simpler stuff, and I think that's probably why I liked like Full House and stuff like that, was because it was at least the men. They were competent. They were loving people. They loved their family, and they would be goofed on, and they'd do stupid things and silly stuff, and they'd mess up. But it was there was an endearing. It wasn't because they were idiots. Like Carl Winslow was the man. He was great. I think my first crush was what's her name? The Steve Urkel's crush. Laura. Yeah. Laura. Young men watching this is so much more thick. Like that confused me, and I know who I am. But it was like jerking me back and forth, and it was like, because it looks like stuff that you've seen. Like it shows a television set, and it shows, you know, a jackass guy doing stupid things. But it's, so, and you've seen that on television, but it's all twisted. It's ridiculous. Like it shows you stuff that you've seen, but in a way that you've never seen it. But it's a caricature of men, and it's inaccurate, and I would expect women to not put up with or take seriously that stuff. But you know, there's a women's march happening on Saturday in Washington, D.C. that has been organized by people who want Jews dead. So, you know, people who hear all the dog whistles, and they know all the dog whistles, and they're pointing out all the dog whistles. Maybe if you're hearing all the Nazi dog whistles, you're the Nazi, you know? Just something to think about. Maybe it's not me. Maybe you're the Nazi. All right. So let's get along, because this is stupid. And if you have a pussy hat, burn it, because it's stupid. Burn your pussy hats. It's so dumb, man. Y'all gotta get with it, because pussy hats. Y'all gonna wear vaginas on your head and do a little double entendre, buy them for your kids. Pussy hats. It's too much, man. It's extra. It's a little extra. All right, let's tone it down. You women are getting a little uppity. I can't handle it. I can handle it, but I can't have it. I can't have all this uppity nonsense from you women. You know, you got to know your place, and you got to know your lane, and I won't have all this jibber jabbing, jaw jacking from some woman. So yeah, I'm joking for the most part. I'm being silly for sure. But be well, and don't be stupid. Don't make a mockery of men, and men, don't let people make a mockery of you. You know, because really all this crap is men's fault. Because the culture doesn't like you. The culture thinks you're stupid, and to women who don't think that's the case, because I see a lot of Christians as well, like Christian women, thinking that this is cool, and even some Christian men. It's not. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. It's nothing to be outraged about, but it should be laughed at, because it's so ridiculous. Like, we should not be proud of this Gillette commercial, because who knows? Like Nike, like I didn't finish earlier. Nike's made some money, but their demographics are bigger, and they have both genders. This is a men's company went after men and tried to pretend like it was some positive thing. They're saying men are unnatural. They're saying masculinity is unnatural. And that you should learn to fight. You should join a karate class, or you should play football or boxing, and you should get the hell beat out of you. You know, and you should get made fun of. And I'm not saying you should. Don't go out and seek it. Don't go out and seek an ass beating, and don't go out seeking to beat somebody's ass. See, that's not the message. But it's going to happen in one way or the other. You've got to know how to see. Like, if that girl in that boardroom had taken more sparring classes and had, you know, got her lights punched out a couple times in the ring by some transgender dude, you know, just rocking and rolling or something. Maybe she'd have known how to take a hit and keep rolling. I don't know. That's silly too, but there's something to be said about it. Because you got to know how to get hit. You got to know how to fall down, and you got to know how to get up, and you got to know how to not let your circumstance dictate who you are. You have to have integrity about yourself. You have to have respect for yourself. And this culture does not respect men, and men don't respect themselves. And I don't know. That didn't sound quite right. Something's going on. got a women's march. They don't know what they want, so, but they're going to go march. So let's see what happens. Godspeed out there.